Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus Channel. The Defender Europe 20 was the largest deployment of troops from the United States to Europe in more than 25 years. The main goal for the United States was to draw preposition stock from locations in Germany and Belgium with the support of its NATO allies and partners. Almost 20,000 service members were tasked to spread out across the region and participate in various annual exercises. Defender Europe 20 concluded with the redeployment of U.S. forces and equipment. The U.S. service members, after performing the exercises, cleared the training areas, returned preposition stocks, and returned to home stations. This exercise not only demonstrated the U.S. military's ability to rapidly deploy a large combat-credible force and equipment from the United States to Europe, but also nurtured interoperability with its NATO allies and partners. The United States has developed what's known as the Army Preposition Stock (APS) program, which allows the U.S. Army to strategically preposition sets of equipment such as the tanks and wheeled vehicles of an armored brigade combat team in climate-controlled facilities worldwide. This allows the soldiers to fly to a location and fall directly on all the equipment they need for combat, which ultimately reduces deployment response times. There are 5 stocks available worldwide. They are identified as APS-1, located in the United States, APS-2, situated in Europe, APS-3 is a sea vessel capable of traveling anywhere, APS-4, located in Northeast Asia, and finally, APS-5, situated in Southwest Asia. These 5 stocks are available to support all combatant commanders' missions, not only during the war, but also during exercises and humanitarian missions. There are several ways of transporting vehicles from the preposition stocks to the desired location. On the 5th of February 2020, the U.S. military conducted convoy operations to Savannah, and the equipment was moved in preparation for the Defender Europe 20 exercise. The procedure started with assessing the equipment required for the exercise, ensuring all the vehicles, weaponry, and supplies were ready to use. The logistics specialists organized the extraction of vehicles from the preposition stocks to the desired location in the shape of a convoy. Now, the U.S. military needs to move battle tanks from home to several locations in Europe. For instance, a vehicle cargo ship known as the USNS Benavides was used to transport multiple M1 Abrams tanks from the United States to Germany in support of the force projection exercise, Defender Europe 20. Service members, stevedores, clerks, and other port services personnel collaborated to successfully load tanks from the port to inside the USNS Benavides. Once the tanks are loaded, the cargo ship is underway toward the desired location. The cargo ship is pulled by a tugboat as it nears the port in Germany. After the ship is stabilized, the crew lowers the ship's ramp for the U.S. Army personnel to get on board and initiate the protocol to unload the M1 Abrams. As the crew guides the M1 Abrams tank down the ramp one after another, civilian German port personnel check the paperwork to verify the vehicles. After the M1 Abrams, the fully tracked M113 Armored Personnel Carriers, APCs, are towed down the ramp of the ship and are verified by German civilian port workers. Additionally, the crew unloads several high-mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicles, Humvees, and M2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles. Various tank transport vehicles are used for moving tanks within Germany. Soldiers with the 16th Sustainment Brigade transported M1 Abrams from Kuhlmann Worksite in Mannheim to Grafenwöhr, Germany. The tanks were loaded on a tank transport vehicle, and each tank was secured to avoid any unwanted movement on the road trip. The tank transport vehicles had a unique load-securing system to accommodate M1 Abrams. Initially, the tanks were positioned perfectly on the transport vehicles, and then they were tied to the surface using turnbuckles, chains, and anchors. After installing the chains, the personnel used spanners to tighten the turnbuckle to remove any slack in the chains, which further enhanced the grip of the tank with the surface. For conducting exercise Defender Europe 20, the first U.S. military convoy containing soldiers from the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team and 3rd Infantry Division crossed the border between Germany and Poland at the border crossing of Kobaskowo. The convoy included vehicles such as Humvees, heavy expanded mobility tactical trucks, HEMPs, and medium tactical vehicles, FMTVs.
Moving the marked column, this column is not privileged, so the driver must obey the traffic regulations and, in particular, move the right lane.
All of these vehicles took part in the exercise Defender Europe 20. The convoy crossed the border at night so that it would not have any effect on civilian traffic. Before deploying soldiers at a new location, several preparations need to be made beforehand to ensure a successful transition, especially when it comes to getting the equipment they need. It is easy to just draw the equipment from the Army preposition stock located nearby, rather than shipping the equipment. However, the process of the APS draw must start in the early stages of planning to make sure everything is in order. APS program is designed to save money and provide fairly new equipment to the unit. Moreover, it helps prevent maintenance problems with the vehicles because the equipment is checked and maintained on site to ensure it will be ready at a moment's notice. Once the inventory begins, the units conduct a component-level inventory for each item, and then conduct preventive maintenance checks on the equipment. The entire brigade works collectively to sign for the equipment, inventory it, and move it to the other locations in Europe. Before the Defender Europe 20 began, the U.S. military personnel made sure everything was ready, especially the battle tanks that were to be used for live fire exercises. Therefore, the soldiers checked the fuel level of each battle tank and refueled it if necessary. This ensured the battle tanks were ready to roll and no hindrances occurred during the live fire exercises. Cheyenne Mountain was excavated by the Army Corps of Engineers to construct the NORAD Combat Operations Center and became fully operational on the 20th of April, 1966. Over time, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex housed elements of the U.S. Strategic Command, U.S. Air Force Space Command, and U.S. Northern Command. The entryway into the Cheyenne Mountain Complex features the insignia of 4 tenants, including NORAD, U.S. Northern Command, Air Force Space Command, and U.S. Strategic Command. There are several buildings inside the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, each 3 stories high. The main building features various amenities for the personnel, such as a medical facility, a store, and a cafeteria. In addition, there are fitness centers both inside and outside the mountain. Inside the facility, there are a large number of cots for most of the personnel, including exceptional suites for high-ranking officers. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex was designed to protect against a nuclear blast or an earthquake. Therefore, more than 1,000 giant springs are placed under 15 buildings of the complex, allowing the structures to shift up to 1 full inch in any direction. These springs are expected to protect the building and the personnel inside. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex is now managed by Air Force Space Command and hosts the activities of several tenant units. As of 2023, it is an alternate command center for NORAD and U.S. Northcom and is used for crew training. All the original functions of the complex were removed to Peterson Air Force Base, located in Colorado Springs. Now, NORAD and U.S. Northcom use less than 30% of the floor space within the Cheyenne Mountain Complex and comprise only 5% of the daily population at the facility. Previously, this facility was a joint operations center for NORAD and U.S. Northcom. Several other units, along with U.S. Northcom, supported the NORAD missions. The Cheyenne Complex was a defense hub of the United States and supported aerospace warning and control missions. It was also capable of warning against ballistic missile or air attacks against North America. Defender Europe 20, and the Army Preposition Stock program reveal a core truth of modern warfare. Victory depends on speed, coordination, and the ability to deploy combat power at a moment's notice. From rapidly moving armored forces across oceans to fortified command hubs, like Cheyenne Mountain Complex, the U.S. and its allies are building a synchronized network designed to deter threats and maintain stability in an increasingly complex security landscape. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.